Welcome to the Business Spotlight. My name is Marcia Erickson. I'm your host for today's conversation. My guest today is Bryce White, the owner of Audiovisual Resource. We're going to be talking about his business, his journey in ownership, the challenges he's faced, the wins along the way, and he's going to give us a peek into what it's like to build and run a business. Welcome, Bryce.
Thank you so much, Marcia. It's good to be here.
Thanks for being here. Before we dig in,
Yeah.
I'd love for you to give us a quick background on who you are and tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay. I'll give you the most recent background because there's 29 years worth of life that is going to be hard to recap, but live here in
That'll be another
Bettendorf
podcast.
with another podcast where we get real deep into how am
Yeah.
I who I am today. But currently live in Bettendorf. I've been married to my wife for 9 years. We've got 3 kids and then one due in just about a month from the day we're recording this. So family's growing. We're obviously own this business here in the Quad Cities, very roots deep. We love this community. We are from northern Wisconsin, about 5.5 hours north of here, so easy to get back home. But that is the snapshot of, my family is so much of me has to do with my role as a husband and father. So I think that's probably the most important thing to, those are the highlights. There's a lot of other hobbies and interests, but those are the hot topics right there.
That's the season of life you're in.
Very much so. Yep. Young
it.
kids, and it's a season I don't want to miss. So
Yeah. So tell us about, does that guide why you got into business?
yeah, that's I would say no, not this specific business. It's the guide to why I work and why I want to work and why I want to provide. But getting into this business was a bit more circumstantial than it wasn't like, man, I've got this family. I really want to own a business and provide that way. I'm open to all kinds of work, and this was something that was kind of too clear of a door to walk through to say no to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Tell us about that. How'd it happen?
Yeah. So Dan Malone of Port Byron started Audiovisual Resource back in 2010, and he ran it for the last 15 years. And then he met me about 4 years ago. I've been in different AV roles, mostly in churches. I own my own videography company for a little bit. And he got connected to me as a technician. So if he had a big job and needed technicians, just contract work, he would have me on. So I was connected to AVR before I owned it. And we talked, 5 years ago about, maybe someday I buy it from him, or maybe someday when he retires, I take over. And we just sort of never talked about it again. I was just a tech if he needed one for a number of years, about 4 years. And then last year, actually right around this time, kind of early July, was when the talks really ramped back up, and he was considering moving on and spending some time with his family in a way that he wasn't able to if he owned it. So that's kind of, so it was really like, it wasn't, I wasn't pestering about it. It just came about. Yeah. And it was the right thing, the right time in my life to say yes to something like this. And I'm really, really glad I did.
Good. So what does your day-to-day look like? How much time in the business, on the business?
Yeah. I try to keep it about 8 to 4. If I'm not on site of jobs, obviously when a job comes in, if we're doing a live event, kind of at the mercy of that schedule, right? So if a job requires getting there at 7 a.m. and I'm there till 3 p.m. and then tear down for an hour and a half and then take stuff back, it could be a 10-hour day. But if I have control over it, I try to start at 8, end at 4, keep my schedule predictable for my family. If anybody listening to this has young kids, you would probably know how important that routine can be. And when you're off of it, it definitely affects everybody. So I keep to it as much as I can. And then if there's a day where I'm working late, I'll try to do a late start the next day. I'll try to balance it out and, try to make it work. There's obviously seasons where you've got to clock in a few more hours than usual. And I try to prep my wife and kids as much as I can for those, but it's all part of what comes with owning your own thing, I guess.
Yeah. Sounds like you've got the time thing down.
Yeah.
That's good.
Some weeks better than others.
Priorities are clear.
Yep. Yes.
And you're the only owner.
That's it. Yep. Only
Yeah.
owner, only full-time guy.
Okay.
Hopefully not forever, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get into that. We'll tip
Yep.
our
Yeah. I
toe into
figured, I
that.
figured we might. I won't go too into all that yet.
Tell me about, so when I am coaching clients, even if they're the sole owner at this point, I
Mhm.
talk to them about their team being more than just, you know, W-2 employees. So do you have other folks who are on your team in terms of advisors and contract employees, things like that? Or is it just you?
Mhm. Yeah, I've got a couple contract guys I reach out to pretty regularly. We do a lot of dinner events, not just here in the Quad Cities, but Galesburg, Burlington, Dubuque, Des Moines, Iowa City. We get booked for all kinds of little things. And if I'm busy or if I just need the night off, there's a few guys who I really trust to
Nice.
do, the same type of job I would want to do and represent AVR well. So I've got a few guys along that. And then I have a financial advisor as well who is he's a really good personal friend. We played college baseball together.
Nice.
One of it's not often you're talking about college teammates and talk about a guy you respect, but he was one I respect. The way he lived his life is very different than most college players, and he had purpose and drive. And so he's a guy that I've stuck with since college. And when he got into this advisory role, I've been keeping in touch with him and have recently started working with him. And it's been so helpful just to have, again, when you're the only one, it's just me every day, and my mind can only process so much and plan so much. It's so nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of, or to just look at
Yeah.
my numbers with me and help me see it, which is obviously, as a business
Yeah.
coach, this is what you do.
Yeah.
You are a resource to ping ideas and
Yeah.
just, because you can only be there. There's a limit to what we can do alone. That is, you know,
Yeah.
exponentially grows when we partner with somebody. So yeah, those are, I'd say
100%.
that's really it, is, between him, and then obviously I've got personal friends in my life who I can talk to stuff about too. But those are like
Yeah.
I'd put them in the business category, of connections
Yeah.
and relationships that are consistent.
Let's talk about the business a little bit, because I think you take for granted, when I heard audiovisual resource,
Hmm.
I had kind of an idea in my mind. But then when I looked at what you do, like, you do a variety of things and really, really
Yeah.
cool stuff. So tell us about that. Tell us about, some of the types of businesses that you work with, and some of the services you provide.
Yeah. So I'd say the heavy hitters, your lead off guys, are going to be something I'm doing even tonight, at the Waterfront Convention Center. I'll be the AV on site. So we're using other people's gear, but they trust me to run it. They have a fully customized system in there that I have learned. So I can go in and I can take their whole systems. I've worked in, like I said earlier, I worked for a church as a tech director for a number of years, and I can come in and ingest a system, if you want to put it that way, and just I'll be the AV on site. We'll provide the full scale. So we work at, these big venues around town here in the Quad Cities and even beyond, where they have their event space, but they have no AV, or the AV is not suitable for what they want. So just an example, like KFC was in town recently, and they're a lively bunch. I had no idea. I don't know what I was expecting, but they are just like the commercials would make you think their executive team are. They are hyped up, and they wanted, four subwoofers and they wanted it loud for this small room and 150 people. And so we came in with microphones and speakers and projectors and screens for breakout rooms. And there's some jobs where it's all that, plus they want it filmed, they want it broadcast to Microsoft Teams or Zoom. They want photos of the event. It's really full scale
Wow.
live event services is the primary thing. That's the business I bought, was live events. For anything from a dinner meeting where you need one mic and one speaker, to these full scale, multiple days, everything. You want it filmed, you want it processed after, edited, all that.
Yeah.
And then I have added, and what we're starting to see a bit of traction in, and hopefully that keeps growing, is the installation or diagnostic space. So whether that's an office building that wants to get, the in-ceiling speaker system. We just completed a job out at the Rock Island Arsenal, putting a sound system in a gymnasium and a drop-down screen. so that they could start hosting events in there and do graduations and all kinds of things that they haven't been able to do in that space, or they've had, kind of a wheel-in old system that they were using. And
Yeah.
so going into spaces that don't have AV and finding a way to add it. But then also I'd love to get into the new construction side where you get to do it all behind the walls before
Mm.
everything's all built. So we've got a couple quotes out for stuff like that, and nothing has happened yet, but that's an area that I'm hoping we can grow into because the Quad Cities is always building. We are building
Yeah.
so much stuff. And I think we could do a really good job with that and provide great service over the course of the years of that business. I care a lot about doing that for a fair price. And from what I've learned from other
Mhm.
business owners around here, it seems like there's frustrations with a lot of people do like contract type stuff. So we install it, but then we're on contract to fix it. And there's
Yeah.
so much money spent on stuff that you might not need. And I'd love to try to combat that.
Okay, so that leads into a great conversation around what makes you
Mhm.
unique and different. Is that one of the places?
Yeah. So man, I resist greed a whole lot. I mean, I'm not calling other people greedy by saying that. I'm not trying to say every other company is greedy. But I just feel like as a human, as an American, we always talk about, inflation's going up, this price is rising, interest rates are going. I'm like, well, isn't that our fault? Like, aren't we the ones raising all the prices of stuff? I don't know. I just don't want to be a burden of any kind on really anyone. But I think especially I get to see ways that I can do that with my business too. Um, I'm aware that there's times I could charge more for something, and I'm aware that the industry standard is you do the installation and then you have them sign a 4 or 5 year contract. But I think similar to you had a conversation with Joe, was it Endy? Did you say last name?
Uh-huh.
Endy?
Yeah.
And I loved his attitude on it too. I feel like I carried the exact same thing because you have a rift in a relationship and then you're contractually bound, and then things get legally ugly and that spills over into personal. You see those people who are in your community you run into them in a grocery store and you were just in court with them the week before. I'm not interested in that type of thing, all
Yeah.
for a guaranteed contract and I'm making more money off you. I want to be there when you need me for what you need me for. And then I hope I'm your next call if you need something
Yeah.
too. But I don't want to lock somebody into, I don't know. I'm sure there's business coaches out there who would say go for something different, but that hasn't quite seeped into where I would listen to that
Yeah.
quite yet. If
Sounds
that
like you
makes
want to
sense.
earn the business, create a wow experience, get raving fans, and it's just going to grow from there.
And hopefully, I'm naive in this, but hopefully not change that in the future. If we grow, if we become bigger, if we start doing bigger things, I don't want to just do what another big company does, where like, because that seems like maybe the trajectory of a small business who does really well, grows, they buy out, they grow, but then they become what a new small business
Mm,
become, kind of grows up and it seems
yeah.
like there's this cycle. And I would just love to, I'd love to be content with keeping what's working for me now across the years. And again, there could be some, however you say the word, naive, I don't know. There could be some naive
Naivety.
naivety. Thank you. I was like,
Yeah.
in that, I'm sure as you hire people, your overhead, there's things I don't yet understand because
Yeah.
I'm a one man business,
Yeah.
and I know things will have to change when you have trucks and when you have insurances for permanent inside. Like I understand costs go up and things will have to reflect, but I just always want to do something that's uncommon, even as I grow. I want
Yeah.
to be uncommon in that way, where there's a surprise and a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I guess
What
is
you're describing
how
is
I
your
want to put that.
values, right? The
Yeah,
culture you want for your company and the values that are important to you. And
right.
that's what you're going to build your company on. And truthfully,
hmm
that's why people are going to want to do business with you. So,
I hope. And
yeah.
I don't know if it'll not look as flashy as somebody else, but I hope people experience, and I think they do now with the live events, that when they work with, I like to say us. A lot of times it's just me, but I really try to use us language a whole lot. it when I'm talking about AVR because it's what I hope to become. And so so I'm like, when they use us, even if it's just me,
Yeah.
um, I think they experience just they're not just a check for me.
Hmm.
And it's not all transactional. There's some events, yeah, maybe it's not an interest of mine personally, but I still want to do the best I can because this is these people's livelihood. And there's people who've worked for 6 months to get this event perfect.
Hmm.
And they reach out to me, and I have such a small window of time that I'm connected to them for that event. But if I do a great job, everything they worked so hard for looks really good. They now look really, and I'm talking like event coordinators within a
Yeah,
company.
for sure.
Um, and I love knowing that what I can do when I do it well can reflect really well on other people too. And someone's event can go off without a hitch. Even if there was an issue, maybe I found a creative solution in the middle of the event to make it happen. And I don't even care if they know it was me who figured it out. They just know that whoever their person on staff is that was in charge of that event, the event went well, looks great on everybody. That person really appreciates me. And usually it leads to
Oh,
I'm the
yeah.
next call. And I just want to keep doing that and let all the numbers and other things kind of take care of themselves. I want to keep those values intact no matter what.
Yeah. And you've got some really great clients, and you can make or break an
Yeah.
event. I've been at a
Oh
few
my
lately where
goodness.
it's
Yeah.
not gone well, and yeah, poor reflection. So you hit upon a few different
Yeah.
things that I want to talk about. So let's talk about where you were talking, you've got some ideas about where you want to take this. So what does the next 3 to 5 years for AVR look like?
Mm. Well, we will have the loan paid off at the latest October of 2029. So that's about 3 years away. Um, I have to be patient until then. Honestly, it's a seller finance loan, um, and it's a lot. Every
Yeah.
quarter there's a new payment, and I've got to be ready for it. And it's money that I would love to be reinvesting into having someone else full time with me, into putting that towards something that I think could snowball into, I'd love to be able to have the funds to take a risk when it feels like it's the right time. But I want to stay on top of those. So that's a big 3 to 5 year. Um, I would hope that we extend our range of where we do this
Okay.
because right now in the Quad Cities we have three really great venues that are our primary. We've got the Waterfront Convention Center, we've got the River Center downtown, and then we've got like Bally's Casino does quite a few. I know we have Rhythm City. I think they have a bit of in-house AV for that stuff, which is fine. But I would hope that we can become the go-to option for the Dubuque area and the Peoria area with Caterpillar's events. And Des Moines is crawling with a few really big companies. And I think it'd be awesome if some people in the Des Moines area found out about AVR and maybe their events don't require stadium size speakers and LED walls. Yeah, I'm not there yet, but if it's something where, similar to the events we do here, I'd hope they'd give us a shot. And I think even with the travel labor and overnights and stuff, I think we'd be pretty competitive on pricing. And I think they'd experience people who care a lot. And just based on, they say do what's like understand what you do really well and lean into that.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we do really, really well is the live event experience. And so I hope in the next 3 to 5 years, our range is expanded. You know, I'd love to be called upon for areas beyond just the Quad Cities, because that to me is what will bring growth is, we're kind of maxed out, I think, with venues and what we do here um, in that wing of AVR, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So
I
increase
think
your footprint.
yeah, in the Quad Cities, we could grow in installation. We have no presence there, and we could grow into that. But if we're going to grow our events, I think we have to look beyond the Quad Cities. So I hope in 3 to 5 years,
Okay.
that's something that we're doing.
Excellent. What's that going to mean to you personally?
Personally, it's not going to mean anything crazy. I think the thing it's going to mean most to me is it's going to mean I get to bring people on. And that's what I'd be
Yeah.
really excited to do. I'm way too social of a person to work alone long term. I want to bring some really great, and not just I want my friends to come work with me. There's some guys who are very talented within AV that I would love to bring along, and not just talented, they treat people well. They care about people as individuals first, and that's the kind of attitude that I want to bring in. But then I also just hear and see so much that there's just, I want people, I wish everybody could find a job they love, and I feel like that's got to exist. There's got to be a way to do what you love. There's going to be sacrifices you
Yeah.
might have to make. Maybe it's location. Maybe you're not going to make $100,000 a year with what you love. And I want to find, there's a few people that I would love to bring on because I know that they would love to do this. And I can't afford to bring them on right now. And that sometimes that can be difficult where I feel this, this pre-responsibility to offer them a job that I know they're going to love. And I'd be so excited to see something that I own be providing for these people and their families, and just get to bring in such a cool culture, not only to where we work, but for them to go, um, to be able to be home and happier when they're at home, knowing
Yeah.
they love what they do. They're getting paid well to do what they do. They don't have to worry about um, some of the stuff they might be worrying about right now. So I think that's what it'll mean to me is if there's growth, it'll mean I get to provide jobs for some other people. So that's what I'd be most excited about.
That's super powerful. Yeah. Um, get to share what we love, what we do, and to share it with other people
Very
is really
much.
powerful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Um, everybody wants to know about marketing, right? So you have
Mm.
some incredible clients. You've gotten to do some incredible things. What types of marketing strategies work for you?
Mm.
What's worked the best? Where do you fit?
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to the beginning of when I purchased the company. What I bought, the reason I decided to purchase instead of start my own is I was buying a book of business. I was buying the name, the clients that came with. Dan had some incredible relationships built that I have just simply inherited, and I'm grateful for that. And that's why I agreed to the price of the business that I agreed to is
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly valuable, the relationships he had. Long term, again, if AVR doesn't grow, if it's just me and it stays just me, it's a great job and this will provide for my family and it's wonderful. I'll pay the loan off. I could be very happy and it's a great job and I'm excited about that. That's what I paid for. I have done, to be honest, I've spent $0 on marketing since taking over. We're almost a year now. It's been fully word of mouth, some SEO work behind the scenes on my website.
Okay.
I launched a new website because the one I inherited was over 10 years old and looked like it might have been made on Microsoft Word, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I revamped the website. I went in, did the metadata and tagging things in the background, all those SEO tips and tricks. I
Yeah.
created a Google business profile,
Yeah.
which has brought in a few people. So I did a couple things like that are just surface level free, but I haven't spent $1. And I have a feeling
Awesome.
somebody's going to convince me to very soon.
So relationships, right? Past
Yeah.
relationships, doing a great job, building wow
Yep.
experience. There's a lot of ways to market.
Yeah.
And there's a lot and strategic partnerships, right? You've got
Sure.
partnerships with the venues that you're at, right? So that
Right.
is actually my number one marketing strategy that is perfectly
Yeah.
free.
Yep, Leanne, Jennifer, and Stacy are
Yeah.
my three of my favorite people out there as
Yeah.
far as partners within what I do. They trust me a lot,
Yeah.
and I would lose, a ton of my business's revenue comes from those three ladies, and
Yeah.
I got to find more ways to appreciate them because the bottom line relies a whole lot on what they bring in. So it's just an interesting thing about my business. I'm not the
Yeah.
one always creating that direct connection to the end user or the end
Yeah.
client. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are so important for me to have for sure.
Marketing through customer service. I love it.
Hmm.
Great customer service is the best marketing you can do.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for some
Yeah.
rapid fire questions?
I hope so. Let's see.
Okay. What's the key to success for you?
Sticking to my values no matter what. I think success can be defined in I think if I stick to those, everything else follows. Because if I stick to those, I'm not really worried about having a better quarter than I did last quarter. I'll let everything else take care of itself. I got to treat people the same way. If I start to get desperate, I might cut corners. I might, I might just I might go against something that I don't want to go against,
Mm,
if that makes sense. So I've got to
yeah,
stick to the values first and let everything else take care of itself. So I think that will breed success if I do that.
love it. What's one piece of advice you have for business owners?
Um, I feel like it's probably the same thing in there. And
I knew
it
you were going
probably
to say that.
sounds, you know what I mean? It's like it probably sounds a little cocky or so, oh, just be like me, treat people really well. Like do what I do. Like, I don't know. Just be honest with people. Um, don't lie to people. That's kind of the same thing, but don't make something up to it. Like, if you mess something up, own it, fix it, do
Yeah,
what it takes to fix it, go above and beyond. Um, Sacrifice a little bit of profit in order to do the right thing, if that's what it takes. There's times where, I had a tech do a job that I wasn't able to be here for, and a key detail got missed. And the immediate thing that I did was, I just gave a number of, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it right. And I think it blew their minds because they were probably thinking something very different. Um, so that was step one, was letting them know, yep, that was clearly a mistake. Here's what I'm going to do to make it right. Number two, absolutely did not give that tech a hard time at all. There's stuff I could have done to prepare him better for that job, or, whatever, given him the opportunity to have the right stuff that he needed to do what he needed to do. But doing the right thing right away, going above and beyond and sacrificing some profit on that job, led to them giving me a call a few weeks ago saying, we're back in September. We'd love to have you guys do it again.
oh
And
my
I
gosh,
think that,
speaks
15, it was
volumes.
about, just to be, I'm pretty open with numbers. It was about 1,500 I took off this big event. And it's like, that's a lot of money in the,
Mhm.
and, it was a pretty good chunk, but them booking us again is gonna, if I'd have just tried to make an excuse or done something lighter, I don't know. If I tried to just get, something that works for both of us, I could have lost the chance to do this next job.
Yeah,
And as soon as that call comes in for the next job, that 1,500 means nothing. It's all
yeah.
earned back. We kept a relationship going. So maybe it's not the case for every business owner. Businesses all are very different. But for me, the advice I'd have to anyone doing something similar is just be very honest and go above and beyond to do
Yeah.
the right thing.
Lifetime value of a customer is more important. I love it.
So much more. Yeah.
How about a book you're reading or a podcast you're listening to?
Mm. So this will dip into the spiritual side of things. There's a podcast called Bema Discipleship, Bema, and I've grown up in a Christian household my whole life, but really never understood a lot about the whole Bible in general. So this guy, he takes you through the Bible from a Jewish perspective, and so it gives context that I never understood, kind of growing up in American
Mhm. Yeah.
Christianity. And the biggest deal, it's going to connect to things you've already heard me say today, is like how we treat people is so important, and so much of how we interpret scripture as Christians, I think, could be done better. I think we could get to the heart of things a lot more. So this podcast has been like life changing for me, because that's the most important thing in my life, and it affects everything I do, especially how I treat people. And so I've seen the Bible be used as a weapon in a lot of ways I don't think it should. And I've seen
Mhm.
Christians rightfully called out by people for the way they've treated people. Um, And I think there's definitely ways in my own past that I've probably been part of that same thing. And this podcast has
Mm.
totally opened my eyes to a whole new, it's not like a new Bible. It's just understanding it in its context, understanding the audience it was written to and what those things meant. Cause there's hard stuff in there for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
A new
and so
perspective.
it's a very new perspective without changing it, because that's obviously
Hmm.
not good either. I can't just throw it out. But definitely helping understand my relationship with God a lot more um, based on how I understand this scripture I've been given. So that has bled over. Like when I talk about treating people well and going above and beyond to do the right thing, that all ties into justice and caring for people well and treating others more importantly than myself. And that's been a huge influence for me as that podcast. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, a new perspective. It's interesting how we can look at the same thing, same,
Yeah,
thing from a different perspective and go, it's a lot of what coaching is, truthfully, is
sure.
what if you looked at it this way? Right.
Yeah.
So the aha
I mean,
moments.
it teaches me not to ever hold stuff so like this, and to understand that as
Mm-hmm.
time goes on, if I keep holding things like this, I'll be, maybe I don't understand it. That's why I was even talking about earlier
Yeah.
with like, I might be naive in this. I'm not going to pretend that
Yeah.
this is the perfect way. This is my understanding of it right now and why I'm doing what I
Yeah.
do. And yeah, so I want to live my
I
life a
love
lot
that.
more like that. And anyway, it's been a huge help to that.
I love it. Let's
Yeah.
switch gears just a little bit to the
Hmm.
business now. If you had, this is a fun question. If you had a little bit of
Okay.
magic dust and you can sprinkle
Mm.
it on one piece of the business, where would it go right now in this season?
In this season, oh boy. Uh, I would say what we've already talked about. There would be the cash flow to bring somebody on full time and
Okay.
start that journey of growth. There's other things, there's the accounting stuff and there's taxes and there's all these things that I've got to do,
Mhm.
um, that feel like maybe some weeks feel like more than one man can handle, but also more than I can afford at the same time. So it's like I want to bring help
Growing
in,
pains,
but I
growing
can't feel like,
pains.
yeah. Yeah. So the magic wand would be unlocking a bit more revenue to bring
Yeah.
somebody in, share the load. And then I think some of those things would take care of themselves. I think
Yeah.
there's stuff I can do myself, that if, maybe I don't have to hire a specific person for that administrative task, maybe I can hire somebody to more share the load of the whole thing. And that'll free
Yeah.
me up to take care of some of those. Because I don't hate admin work. I don't dislike doing the accounting and making sure my books are in order. I actually really like it. But what's difficult is when I'm spending so much time out in the field doing an installation or doing jobs, or I'm on site, or I'm sending quotes, or I'm visiting. That's when I start to dread the admin stuff, when I feel like I don't have time. So maybe sharing
Yeah.
the load with somebody else. That'd be the I think that'd
Yeah.
be what I'd do, is get to a point where I could bring somebody on full time, or at least, part time, half part time kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd solve all my problems, Marcia. That'd do it.
Little
I'd never
magic
have another
dust.
one.
So I know
Oh
you have
yeah.
another engagement. So before we get to our final question
Mhm.
of today,
Okay.
how can people find you? Because now they're going to be excited. I'm already thinking
Yeah,
of,
hopefully.
different events and things. So how can people find you?
Yeah. So Facebook is truthfully something I need to post on more, and hopefully I can
Okay.
get there. The website is www.avrqc.com. That's going to have a
Okay.
pretty extensive list of what AVR does. You can check out the inventory of stuff you can rent on there. There's some portfolio items to look through. And then, yeah, Facebook is really the only other spot that AVR has any kind of
Yeah.
presence. I try to snap pictures at events and make a post about it here and there. And hopefully I can get into a better rhythm. I finally paid for the Adobe Creator Suite again. And so I've got my
Ooh.
photo editing software back, and I've got some really great, photography gear that I bring along to
Yeah.
events, and I'm sitting on all these pictures. I just haven't put the time in to
Ah.
schedule some posts and do it. And so
Yeah. Throw it
anyways,
on your Google My Business, which they can just
yeah, that too.
Google audiovisual resource, right?
Yeah, audiovisual resource. There's probably a few different ways you could find it. Some you could search AV Quad Cities and it'll probably pop up with the SEO stuff. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
those are the key. Yeah, those are the best ways to find
Awesome.
us.
All
Yeah.
right. Last question of the day. What's inspiring you today?
Hmm. The I think just second chances and second chances again. So
Ooh.
third and fourth and fifth and sixth. I can fail today and I get a new chance tomorrow most of the time. So far, every time, right? I could fail one job and hopefully I can do something to get a second chance with that person, like I talked about before.
Yeah.
I can have a bad quarter, but I have a chance to have a good quarter next time. So not dwelling on one thing. So I think I feel that a lot lately, especially where I feel like my plate is so full. And when something falls through the cracks, that's really difficult for me. I want to do everything so perfectly. Um, but when I do that same thing I've talked about, when I reach out and I say, "Hey, AJ, sorry I missed your text last week. If you're still open for it, here's this quote. I'd love to, and when AJ reaches back out and says, "Hey man, don't worry about it. It happens. Let's get you back out here." That's what I mean by that second chance. So when I
Yeah.
do fail, when my plate is too full and something inevitably slips through the cracks, when I own it and when I it's really cool to earn that second chance and
Yeah.
you really don't want to let people down, but never letting that thing bring you totally down because that can really stunt your growth and progress as if you dwell on that too long. So I think that's something I've been learning to do a lot better is when I fail, when I miss that thing, if I just leave it and I just dwell on it and have a little pity party, nothing gets better and I just stay stuck and sad. But when I own it and when I say, "Hey, here's what happened," maybe it doesn't lead to work, but at least I owned it and I can now let it go. And I
Yeah.
have my own second chance to do it right the next time for somebody else in a similar situation. So that keeps
Wow.
me going. Yeah.
I think that's inspiring for all of us. That was beautiful.
I hope so. Thanks. Unrehearsed, I promise. But
Very good. Excellent.
yeah,
That was a good soundbite. I'm going to think about that tonight. Okay. This was an awesome conversation. Thank you for sharing your story with us and your passion and your inspiration.
absolutely.
To everyone watching, save the show. So many good things in here. Come back to it, watch it again, share it with your friends because Bryce dropped some really cool stuff today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you get notified when we drop a new conversation. Thanks to all of you for watching, and a special thank you to you, Bryce, for being with us today.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for the chance to come on and talk stuff out with you, Marcia. I appreciate it.